Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ben here, and today I'm coming at you with a video just giving my thoughts and reactions and predictions based on the Kawhi Leonard and Demar DeRozan trade. In case you haven't heard or you've been under a rock for the past couple of days, this morning around 8 a.m., 8:30, it was official Central Time. Kawhi Leonard and Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green were traded to the Toronto Raptors for Demar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, and a 2019 first-round pick. Now, this is a huge trade, blockbuster. You'd say, arguably a top. You could say top 3 player in the NBA. I'd say more like top 5, top 10, probably around top 5 when he's healthy. Player in Kawhi Leonard just got traded for a perennial all-star, probably a top 20 player in the league, Demar DeRozan. Now, before I get into the video and breaking it down, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about it from Toronto's perspective, from San Antonio's perspective, whether I think each team was a winner or a loser in the trade, how I think the trade helps them right now, and how I think it will help them in the future, and also what it means for Kawhi's impending free agency, and just what it says about the franchises and the directions they're going in, and a little bit like that. So, starting off, I'm going to talk about Toronto and their perspective on this. So, I get, in the short term, I like this for Toronto. Just looking forward to next season, I think that Kawhi Leonard is a better player than Demar DeRozan, and it does make them a better team. Kawhi Leonard is a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, and along with that, he can put up 25 points a game and shoot 40% from the three-point line, along with around 48% from the field. That's how he performed, not this past season, but the season before, which was arguably his best season in the league so far. Played like an MVP caliber player, and I think if that's who Toronto's getting, this trade in the short run is really good for them. Now, I think they have 2 contingency plans. Number 1 is to do what Oklahoma City just did and try and re-sign Kawhi, sell him on the city and the team, convince him to stay. I personally do not think that this will work. And today there was actually a report that came out that Kawhi has no desire to play in Toronto whatsoever. So that would lead us to think that he will probably leave as a free agent, and thus Toronto will have only gotten him for 1 year. And I think if you're thinking about that, then in the long run, this may be a bad idea. But it's not terrible. You know, I think that honestly, Toronto is probably just going to play out Lowry's contract and then start a rebuilding effort, which would have been 2 more seasons of probably winning about 50 games and losing in the second round. So I don't think that this is a terrible move. It's just speeding up the rebuilding process, because I don't think that they'd win a championship. And I think that this gives them a better shot than they would have had with Demar DeRozan. So I don't think it's terrible for Toronto, because I think that not enough people were thinking about how they were going to have to eventually start rebuilding in 2 to 3 years, and they were just thinking about the here and the right now. And I actually like the here and the right now better with Kawhi, as I was just saying, because he's a better overall player. I also really like Danny Green on this team for next year. A great sharpshooter, and is really what you need in today's NBA. Just a 3-and-D guy who can space the floor really well. He goes really well with them having CJ Miles too, and they already have a really deep bench. So I think that Toronto for this one season definitely got better. But if you look forward to next season, their starting lineup would look more like Kyle Lowry, CJ Miles, OG Anunoby, Serge Ibaka, and Jonas Valanciunas, which that probably is not a playoff team in my opinion. Maybe if their young core really improves a lot, that would be a playoff team, but otherwise I don't really think so. It was definitely a bold move trading for Kawhi. You'd probably say that they're swinging for the fences and really trying to hit a home run. The odds are against them to keep him, I think, but you know, everyone was saying all of last year before this offseason, Paul George is definitely a Laker. Paul George is definitely a Laker. And then, wouldn't you know it, against what everyone predicted, Paul George ended up staying in Oklahoma City. So who's to say that Kawhi doesn't fall in love with the city once he gets there? I don't know. It's hard to tell. So yeah, from a basketball perspective, along with Danny Green, I really like this trade for Toronto in this upcoming season, for one season. But for long term, I don't really like it. Just basically because they're not really going to be a good team after this year, I don't think. They're going to be, if they keep that lineup that I told you, with Lowry, Anunoby, Miles, Ibaka, and Valanciunas, that to me is about a 35-win team, which is not good enough for the playoffs. So I think that they're going to just end up rebuilding after this season if they lose Kawhi Leonard. And then from the San Antonio's perspective, I really like this trade. I love it, honestly. I think Jakob Poeltl is a guy on the rise who could definitely become a quality starter in the NBA, and I think in a year or two will fully take over the starter role from Pau Gasol at center. And along with that, I really like Demar DeRozan. I know a lot of people in this league don't really like him because he's not really what analytics guys like. He shoots about 45% from the field, shoots about 35% from three. Not great shooting numbers for a league that's all about shooting these days. He probably can't be the best player on a championship team, but I think he could definitely be the second best player on a championship team. But I really like him. I've been watching a lot of different people on ESPN and Fox Sports today talk about how DeMar DeRozan really isn't even that good, and San Antonio could have gotten way better hauls from other teams, but I honestly don't think so. I think that this was about the best haul that they could have gotten, and I think that DeMar DeRozan is a great piece to build around. I don't think that they were going to have many trade opportunities where they were going to be able to get a four-time All-Star in return and a guy that, when he's the primary option on a team, can put up anywhere between 25 to 29 points a night, which I think is what DeMar DeRozan can be for them. Their starting lineup next year would probably look something like DeJounte Murray, DeMar DeRozan, Rudy Gay, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Pau Gasol, with Poeltl and Bellinelli coming off the bench for them, along with Patty Mills, which would be a pretty good core. So yeah, I really like this move for San Antonio. I think that a lot of people are bellyaching that I've heard talking. A lot of people that I've heard talking are bellyaching about the 3 years, $83 million left on DeMar's contract, but really the way superstars get paid today, if he's putting up 28 points a game, I think that his contract would be justified. If they make the playoffs every year he's in San Antonio, the contract would be justified, which I think that they would, considering that last year they made the playoffs without Kawhi Leonard. Adding in a four-time All-Star, that is going to be great for San Antonio to have a primary scoring option. I think in the short run it's good. I think in the long run it's good in that when DeMar's contract is up, they can rebuild if they want to. I think that really, though, for the here and right now, they did a really good job of getting bona fide value. Because let's even say they do a trade for Lonzo and Kuzma. For all we know, Kuzma was only being a good scorer because they had no scorers on that Lakers team. And Lonzo, honestly, he hasn't cleared the mantra that's hanging around him of potentially being a bust. Personally, I do not think that Lonzo will be a bust, but he could easily just be 10 points and 7 assists could be his line for the rest of his career. We don't really know. He has a broken jump shot and a broken perimeter game. And so I don't think that even a package with him and Ingram and Kuzma would have been that much better than the package that they got, because at least with DeMar DeRozan, you know what you got, which I think is very valuable in this league. And barring some ACL tear or a career-ending injury, he's going to be a consistent 28 points a night for you, which I really think is valuable in this league. Again, DeMar isn't he's more of a slasher. He likes to dunk a lot. He likes to drive to the rim. He's not as good on a pull-up jumper, but hey, at least he's a bona fide scorer and perennial all-star for you. So yeah, I like it in the short run for sure for San Antonio. In the long run, it's really hard to tell right now because it's not clear what they want to do going forward. Whereas I feel like Toronto is pretty clear. They're either going to try and re-sign Kawhi, and if that doesn't work, I think it's pretty clear they're going to go for a rebuild. I feel like San Antonio, you don't really know. Are they going to try and build a contender from this? Are they going to try and rebuild after Demar's contract is done, which will be 3 years from now? But so yeah, I think that just for right now, they're going to be content to be like a first or second round playoff team, and that's good enough for them. I think it's really interesting that 2 weeks ago, the Toronto Raptors told Demar DeRozan that we want to keep you and we are not going to trade you no matter what, when he really likes Toronto and really wanted to be there. I think that that was a bad move by them to then go and basically backstab him. And essentially 2 weeks ago, they were just lying to him because they traded him today, which I think is very bad of them. But hey, you know, it's a business and you got to do what you got to do. But DeMar DeRozan was the one superstar they've had that really liked being there. I've heard a lot of talk today about, oh, every other great Raptor wanted to leave. Vince Carter, yes, he did eventually want to leave. And a lot of people were saying that Tracy McGrady left because he hated Toronto, but that's really inaccurate. So I'm just going to clear that up really quick. Tracy McGrady left because Vince Carter was the primary scorer on that team, and Tracy wanted his own team to be the primary scorer on and the go-to option. And it wasn't a dislike for the team or the city. It was a dislike for the particular situation he was in that could have been happening on any team. So I think that that needs to be cleared up a bit when people say, oh, Tracy McGrady left because he didn't like the Raptors. That's also not true. And besides that, people were saying that Tracy McGrady was a Raptors great earlier on ESPN. I want to clear that up too. When he was on the Raptors, he averaged 8 points a game, and then the next season with them, he averaged around 10, and then his final season with them, he averaged 15. So I don't know what you're talking about when on ESPN they were saying Tracy McGrady was a Raptors great, but averaging 15 points a game for one season does not make you a Raptors great. And as far as Chris Bosh leaving, I don't think that he hated Toronto whatsoever. I think that he just liked the Heat situation better, and he knew in Toronto they were just going to perennially win about 45 games and lose in the first round. It's not that he disliked the Raptors. So yeah, I just felt the need to clear some of that up a bit, just because I feel like there was a lot of hate towards the city of Toronto today regarding superstars not wanting to be there. But it's a good city, it's a good franchise, and it should stop getting so much hate. That's all I got for today, guys. Just my reaction on the trade, how each team fared. And if you like the video and have something to say about it, let me know in the comments. If you agree with me or disagree with me, let me know your thoughts, and I'd be glad to hear from you and talk to you a little bit about it. Hope you guys have a good day. Bye.